Well, during a busy planting season, a lot of times breakdowns can happen and they can be very costly for farmers on their operation as we're trying to put a crop in the ground. And a lot of ag companies are trying to change how farmers can get equipment repaired and kind of help with bringing service more on farm versus farmers having to go to town and get parts, et cetera, et cetera. One of those companies that is doing that is AGCO, and we're going to talk about some of their work in that space here today. Joining us, Senior Vice President of Customer Service and Business Effectiveness for AGCO, Stefan Kaspari, is with us here on the show today. And Stefan, thanks for joining us here on the program. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Jesse, thank you very much for having me.
Well, let's start, as I kind of alluded to, things during planting season or harvest season for that matter. You know, if farmers have a breakdown on the farm as they're going, it could be costly, not only from a time aspect, but of course, then they got to repair their equipment. And I think about the old days where, you know, a farmer had to hop in the truck and drive to town, find the parts, maybe order the parts, things like that. But AGCO, you guys are looking to bring more solutions to farmers on the farm to try and minimize some of that downtime and some of the headache there. Let's talk about this a little bit, because that's really a lot of the change with digital technology and more throughout the ag industry, isn't it, Stefan?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. As we define customer success, it's one part is having, I think, the right equipment in the market that helps farmers drive their net farm income. But on the other hand, driving uptime. Uptime of machine is the most important piece during these kind of short windows, during harvest, during planting season. And we have done a lot of things in the past in optimizing our parts supply, having basically best supply rates in the industry. But now we're thinking about how do we bring all these kind of different services to the farm, to the farmer on their farm, right? And in the kind of situation like that, as you said, typically the farmer has to kind of stop work, drive to the shop, maybe bring the machine in, wait for a part. So this could be all very cumbersome again if rain is on the horizon and you need to get things done. So we have basically thought about how can we optimize that and get our dealers, our services closer to the farm, pretty much on site. And in order to get there, we're trying to use different tools, as you said. One element of tools is definitely using digital solutions. But the other one is also using mobile solutions. So we kind of define that as Farmer Core. This is pretty much our next generation delivery distribution approach that should help our dealers to get in closer proximity to farmers. And there are three elements in that model. The first one is the on-farm service solution. So we offer our dealers now the solution to basically leverage more service trucks versus investing into heavy assets like brick and mortar stores. So how you bring that easier and faster to the farm, service trucks is the answer here. We also want to kind of then leverage a much smarter network coverage, because you still need parts supply, service base maybe in the field. But think about the typical basically huge dealership that has the experience center, that has a service center, that has a parts warehouse. How can you maybe modularize that and in a hub and spoke model, bring smaller parts of that into the field, again, supported by mobile service trucks. And last but not least, big element is the digital engagement. So how can you give farmers then 24/7 access to all these different tools, starting from the purchase of the machines to the service piece, but also to the aftermarket and used machine equipment. So there's different ways how you can address that. But the general idea is we bring services, we bring tools, we bring support on farm.
Well, and you made a couple great points there that I want to discuss a little bit more with you. Now, I think about the adage of, you know, the brick and mortar store, and you mentioned that. You know, I grew up in rural northern Iowa, and a lot of times you knew when you were, you know, getting to the next town, because the first thing you would see is that big implement dealership on the edge of town. You know, big cities, you might see car dealerships. Well, in this case, in rural America, you see that big implement dealer, you know, in that brick and mortar store, the big lot. Not to say that those are going to go away, but just thinking of how we're evolving in the ag industry. And to your point, with Farmer Core being launched here, bringing some of those mobile solutions and it being a little more lean and mean, so to speak, kind of being able to be in multiple places and have a wider footprint and not necessarily be tied to that brick and mortar store, I think is so key, isn't it, Stefan?
Absolutely, and the kind of the solution or the situation you're describing is nothing different like in Europe and Germany where I grew up. I grew up on a farm as well, and it was exactly the same thing. So you always had to drive big store, again, big investment for the dealer. He has to kind of, again, fill all these brick and mortar. He has to maintain it. While a service truck comes at a fraction of that cost, while he can still deliver the same service, the same support to the farmer, or maybe even better, because again, the farmer has the benefit that he doesn't need to stop and need to drive somewhere. The kind of dealer can, because the machines are now connected, we have service codes, we know what kind of things are not working, what parts have broken. So you bring that directly to the farm, no waiting time, support right where it's needed, and back into the field.
And I think a lot of this evolution as well tied to just the growth in technology and the interconnectivity and the connectivity that we have in our equipment on the farm. That aspect, that evolution, Stefan, has really played a crucial role here, with in multiple avenues on the farm, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I touched on that a little bit right now. Again, the majority of the equipment that is on the farm, the tractor, the planter, the combine, is what we call connected. So there's multiple sensors on it that are not measuring only the agronomy performance, but also the machine performance. We know pretty much at every point in time what the kind of performance criteria of the machines are. And we know pretty much every time when something breaks, where it breaks, because we have failure and error codes that are showing up. And this kind of data stream should help our dealers to come again well prepared on the farm with the right technical equipment, with the right parts that are required, with the right service technicians to get the equipment going back into the field. So this machine connectivity will actually enable our dealers and our customers to kind of get that system working and really kind of having that proximity on the farm based on all these different tools.
Well, and again, Farmer Core, AGCO has rolled that out globally here, looking to help kind of with that transformation and the changes in the service industry aspect for agriculture. Stefan, great thoughts as we kind of wrap up our conversation here today. If farmers want to learn more about Farmer Core, or of course they want to look at different AGCO products, et cetera, I'm sure online or contacting their local AGCO dealers, how they can kind of get started and get more information on the services that AGCO can offer them, right?
Absolutely. We have everything on our webpage. Our dealers are aware. We have launched the program in the US this year. We're rolling that out globally. I've just been with a new dealer in South America. We actually implemented a new service parts only outlet. And we see many of our dealers in North America doing the same thing, investing into service fleets to really kind of making sure that we provide the best service, the best support to our customers on their farm.
Well, again, Farmer Core from AGCO, great stuff. Continue to watch that evolution here in the agriculture industry and how farmers are better served by their implement dealers and much more. And we enjoyed the conversation with that. Stefan Kaspari with AGCO, Senior VP of Customer Service and Business Effectiveness. Thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for the opportunity. Have a good one. Bye-bye.